Brill. Hello. And yes, again, a very warm welcome to this information webinar. Just a little bit of an introduction. My name's Amit Chadha. I am the Director of Programs here at Claw Social Leadership. And it's so exciting to have you joining us to learn more about our new fully funded program, Social Leaders Cornwall. I'm going to talk you through the plan for this half an hour webinar and then hand over to colleagues. So the plan really looks like this. I'm going to talk to you in a moment a bit about Claw Social Leadership, what we do, what we believe in, why we exist. And then we're going to talk in more detail about the program itself, Social Leaders Cornwall, and we're going to hear from our partners, our Cornwall-based partners, as well as a current participant on one of our place-based programs. And then, as I say, an opportunity at the end to ask questions. Cool. Let's get started on the next slide. Brill. So you can see here some of our beliefs, but I just want to kind of talk you through them really and bring them to life. If you don't know about Claw Social Leadership, really we are all about driving positive social change. And we believe that effective leadership is crucial to make that happen. And over the past 15 years, what we've been focused on is developing really high quality leadership programs that empower and develop leaders across the social sector, working on a range of social causes. We're also all about removing barriers to accessing great leadership development experiences so that we can reach more leaders and also more causes. And in that, we're also really committed to creating a culture of learning and development within the sector and normalizing the fact that good quality leadership development and training is crucial, not just a luxury. So we really want to make sure we're reaching lots and lots of great social leaders in all kinds of causes, in lots of different places. So we tend to frame and design our programs in three ways: supporting leaders working on a specific social cause. It could be supporting leaders working within a specific group or demographic. And like the program we're going to talk to you about today, supporting leaders working in a specific place. We've had the privilege of running several successful place-based programs over the years, and you'll learn a little more about these later in the session, and also how we've ensured that this new program is really rooted in the needs and experiences of leaders in the social and voluntary sectors in Cornwall. I think it's important to say that we really recognise how much brilliant work is happening and the exciting potential that there is in the area. But we're also really alive to the specific place-based context and the challenges faced by social leaders in Cornwall. And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we hear from our Cornwall-based partners. But in terms of our beliefs, I've kind of talked about why we exist, but the points here on the screen, our programs are core in terms of providing the opportunities, equipping leaders with the skills, the self-reflection, and the attributes that will mean they can thrive in their roles. But the way that we work is that the post-program experience is really important. So we have an alumni and a network of Claw Fellows who we want to remain connected with and continue to support and develop post-program and learn from their experiences and ensure that they remain connected and build those alliances and communities. Leadership happens at all levels in all different ways, and it's really important that we recognize that. And so our belief is that everyone is a leader. And what's really lovely about this program is that we're bringing together the voluntary sector as well as other non-profits and charities. So a range of different organizations, all who have influence in the locality. Everyone's leading in some way. I've mentioned how core good leadership is. It's obviously why we exist. It's what we are really, really passionate about. But the final thing, which is really important, is that leaders grow leaders, and that through our approach, we are kind of continuing this ripple effect of people-driven, ethical, values-focused leaders leading other leaders in that way. So there's a little bit of context and a little bit of purpose there in terms of why we exist and why we believe that this program is really important. So I'm going to hand over to my colleague Steve, who will introduce himself, but also introduce our other colleagues on the session today, and then we'll talk you through the program itself.
Hi folks, my name is Steve Sloan. I'm the head of programs here at Claw Social Leadership. As I mentioned, we're joined by a current participant on our Social Leaders Northeast program, Corin, there waving on the screen, and also Paul Lucock from Cornwall Voluntary Sector Forum, who some of you might be familiar with already. We'll be hearing from them a bit later on. But the program itself, we're very fortunate to have funding from the Henry Smith charity, who are able to fund this free opportunity in Cornwall to kind of support with the development and design and delivery of this program. We've partnered with the Cornwall Community Foundation, the Cornwall Voluntary Sector Forum, to kind of lean on their expertise locally to help us deliver this for social leaders in the county. I'm going to pass over to Paul now, just to say a few words about the partnership.
Great, thanks, Steve. Yeah, thank you for inviting me. So as Steve said, I'm Paul Lucock. I'm the Contracts and Programmes Director at the Voluntary Sector Forum. And personally, I'm very excited about this as an opportunity for kind of personal development and supporting growth within our local voluntary sector. As the VSF, we are a member-led organisation, so we currently have close to 500 members. And for anyone on the call who's not already a member, it is free. So I'll put a link kind of in the chat so you can go and register to kind of join and be part of our membership for Cornwall. But that's really against the backdrop of around kind of 5,000 registered voluntary community organisations across the county. And with that, we have around kind of 150,000 regular volunteers. So we are kind of punching above our weight, really, in terms of our population base and the value that that brings to our socio-economy. And we recognise whilst times can be challenging across the sector, there is always an increasing need for new and emerging leaders. And this programme is really fundamental to kind of developing some of those skills for individuals, but also supporting the kind of development and growth within our sector. Really, our aim is to work to support and increase capacity and growth across the county, but that's building on the kind of existing work that happens in our communities. And there is some kind of really amazing stuff going on. I'm always amazed when I get out and about every kind of few days and hear the different things going on. So personally, as somebody who kind of went through a leadership program, slightly different, probably not quite as exciting as this one a few years ago, I feel like personally that kind of developed me in my role currently then as a chief executive and now as a director as the VSF. So I would kind of urge everyone to kind of get on board, register and kind of get involved, because this is really a kind of exciting opportunity for Cornwall. And finally, I can see on the slide there, I was going to say thanks to the Cornwall Community Foundation for connecting us up with the CLAW Leadership Programme, and also to the Henry Smith charity who've obviously funded this. Yeah, so I'll hand back to Steve to go through the detail. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Paul. And thanks again to the Cornwall Community Foundation and Cornwall VSF for your support in delivering the programme. Really important. So the programme itself, what you're all here for, this is a content map of the programme itself. So we're looking at a hybrid delivery of the programme. There will be some online elements and also some in-person elements as well. We're yet to kind of decide on a location, but the partners have been very helpful in recommending some locations for that. Of course, any successful applicants will be given more details about the dates and locations of all of the different elements here. So I'll run through the map here. We will start with a welcome session, which is an opportunity in person for you to meet each other, to meet the facilitators on the programme. There'll also be some representation from the CLAW social leadership team. We'll then start with the Discover programme, which is kind of a 4-week introduction into social leadership, how we think about leadership here at CLAW Social. And that really is our entry-level programme to get you start thinking about you, about yourself. All of the work we do is really centered on you as a leader, really finding out who you are. We then engage in component of 360 feedback. Some of you might be familiar with this already, which is really just gaining feedback from colleagues that you work with. It might be partners or stakeholders. They're invited to do a survey, which then forms a report, which is sent to you. And then to accompany that process, we have a workshop to help you unpack and respond to some of this feedback that you're receiving. And of course, this feedback can be supported through action learning sessions as well, which are best described as small group coaching sessions. There are 4 of those across the programme, which is also accompanied by coaching as well. So that's one-to-one sessions with a professional coach 3 times throughout the programme. There's also a residential component, which is comprised of 2 days, 1 night stay at a residential space in Cornwall in the county. We then have 3 3-hour sessions delivered by our expert facilitators on some key themes that we've kind of discussed with partners that are important and prescient to social leaders in Cornwall at the moment. There's then the Luminous Spark component, which is a psychometric profiling tool, which kind of breaks away from ones that you might have heard of, like the Myers-Briggs personality test, where they're quite controversial, that they kind of put you into a box and separate everyone out into categories, whereas this approach kind of views everybody as more of a spectrum, more of a personality. You can be lots of different things at the same time, and it's really one of the highest rated components of all of our programs, and it's excellently facilitated as well. Of course, the coaching there, the one-to-one sessions 3 times throughout the program, and then, of course, a celebration at the end in person, just to reflect on your experience, celebrate. And of course, like we mentioned, like Amit mentioned, leadership is a lifelong journey. So we get you thinking about what's coming next, and what's ahead. And you can see to the right there, it's a 9-month-long program from September this year, and then finishing up in June 2026. So there'll be more time at the end of the session to hear a bit more about these components if you have any questions. So those 3 leadership workshops that I mentioned, the 3-hour ones, are going to be based around these learning themes here, which we have discussed with partners and done some kind of research on, which are issues that are confronting the county and the social sector at the moment. So we're going to be touching on strategic leadership, systems thinking, kind of zooming out a bit to look at some of the systems that are in play in the county and how they're kind of interacting with each other, where you might be able to fit in, where your organization might be able to fit in. Resilience and well-being, of course, we're really focused on leaders being themselves and looking after themselves. So this is something that is really key to us, and was really coming through in the research and discussions with the partners as being something that is really key to focus on. Then lastly, managing funders and partners as well. Of course, we're all very aware that funding and financial side of things in the sector is tricky, and partnerships can also be tricky. So wanting to bring some attention to that theme through one of the 3-hour workshops as well. Thanks for holding on and bearing with me. Going to now pass over to Corin, who's a current participant on our Social Leaders Northeast program up in Sunderland, Middlesbrough, Redcar and Cleveland, who's currently going through a very, very similar program to this one. Just going to share some of her experiences. Thanks, Corin. Over to you.
No problem. Hello, everybody. Like Steve says, my name is Corin. I am the Artistic Director and founder of Theatre Space Northeast, and I set up a social enterprise 2012 completely by accident. It's a theatre company, with Sunderland's only professional producing theatre company, and I had a drama degree but no business experience at all. So I have been kind of muddling my way through making things happen and making it work, without really having the chance at time to look up and think about the strategic planning or what my business or what I need in order to keep that company going and growing, most importantly. And the Claw opportunity came along, and that seemed like the universe presenting me with a chance to go, right, okay, stop, take a step back and give this a go. And I'm not going to lie, it was terrifying at first, because, well, stop for one is never easy. Put things down, get out of the office, move away from the workshops, and actually take some time to focus on yourself is really difficult to do and quite scary. But there were so many elements of the Claw program that have been quite literally life-changing for me. The 360 feedback, for one, it's automatically going to be a terrifying experience, because you're going to ask people to anonymously tell you what they think of you, while having to think about what you think about yourself as well. And actually, that was one of the things that made me realize that my imposter syndrome was stronger than my self-belief. So I looked at it and I looked at that feedback and I was like, oh, actually, I'm better at this than I think I am. I'm doing better than I think I am. and the people around me think I'm doing better than I think I am. So maybe I should spend some time thinking about it. The action learning sets, again, it's a challenging headspace, but the networks and the support that you get from that element of the program will, again, make a massive difference in how you view your own skills, the network that you've got around you, and having that support, because running a social enterprise, particularly with challenges like we've got in the Northeast and like you guys have got down there in Cornwall, can be quite isolating. It can be quite lonely. And so finding that network of people who commit that time to listening to you and supporting you, and not just in the space that Claw provides, but in the space around that as well, again, has made a massive difference. And I think it would probably be fair to say, and I think Steve referenced it already, the Lumina Spark process is fascinating. Again, I've done a lot of those Myers-Briggs, the this, the that, and you're this letter and that letter, and you are this type of person and you are a fixed thing. But actually what the Lumina Spark process allows you to do is to see where you balance across a whole different level of skills, reinforce the idea that none of those elements of your personality are bad or disruptive or challenging, but give you the skills then to practically think about how you balance them in spaces where you need to be different. And that was a really, really practical approach to that workshop that I found really useful. And the report is a fascinating read. Yeah, it's an incredible read. The detail and the accuracy of it is just mind-blowing. But I also thought the discovery program, the online discovery program, Discover, is really interesting as well, because it's got these lovely little lessons, but they're supported beautifully by lots of access to different types of media. So if you're somebody who's a visual learner, there are videos to watch. If you like to listen to podcasts, there are podcasts you can pick up. If you want to read articles or journals, they're there as well. So however you want to access that range of material, Claw have put that into a space that works for you, and you can hop freely between those media as well. So you're not tied into, I'm just going to watch videos. So if you go, this is a really interesting subject, here's 2 more podcasts and 3 more journals and some links to somewhere else you can find stuff, really worked for there. And I think the benefits for me personally have been around headspace, actually forcing myself to take that time out of my business, look at where I need to develop, look at how that development can support my business's development and my staff's development, and really focus then in on picking those skills up and applying them. And again, another strength from the Claw course that I've been through is that those are applicable straight away. This is not something you wait until you get to the end of the course and then go, right, now I've got a list of things that I can do. I've walked out of every single session going, right, get that up on the wall, put that in the next staff meeting, look at how I can approach that. There's a question for my next action learning set. So it's been very practical in that sense. It doesn't feel like I expected leadership training to feel like. It's a warmer, more supportive, more varied, more practical approach than anything that I'd encountered before. And I think if you're still on the fence about whether or not this is the opportunity for you, I'm just going to say commit to the bit. Like, this is a hell of an opportunity, especially when you can access it for free like we did, like you'll be able to connect to your community, to grow your own headspace, look after your well-being, and make sure that your CIC or your social enterprise of charity is in a strong place to sustain itself in a difficult time. This will push the edge of your comfort zone. It will push some of those boundaries, and it will challenge you to think about who you are, what you want, and how you work. But that's the beauty of it. And it does it in a way where you feel safe and you feel supported. So, say yes, get yourself your application in, and then just be prepared to push at the edge of that safety bubble. And every time you push, it'll just get a little bit easier. And there will be times when you sit there and go, this is, wow, okay. But if you just push past that comfort level and give it a shot, you'll find yourself in a completely different place. I did the write a letter to yourself in 6 months activity as part of it. Did it, felt really awkward and uncomfortable and cheesy doing it, and then instantly forgot I'd done it. And then it arrived in my phone about 2 weeks ago, perfectly timed for when I was having a bad day full of self-doubt. And it made me smile, and it made me realize how far I'd come, and it just reinforced that process. So take the opportunity, jump at it, commit to it, make sure you make the time for it. Don't go in half-hearted. Don't miss sessions here and there. The whole process is incredible, and the whole process is worth committing to. It will make a massive difference to you, your well-being, your leadership, and your organizations going forward. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Corin. Yeah, a real joy to hear all of that, and thank you so much for coming. Corin's going to be here for the Q&A at the end in case you've got any questions for her. Thanks, Corin. So in terms of who we're looking for, this program really is targeted at emerging leaders. So that is individuals who have maybe been in a position of leadership for 3 to 6 years. However, you know, we are very open to having conversations with all of you via email or phone. If you want to discuss, if you feel like you're not really fitting into that, I'm very happy to chat through any of this with you. You'd be working in a social purpose space, and that can include charities, social enterprises, CICs, not-for-profits. Again, any question marks over any of this, do get in touch. And then, of course, real interest in wanting to improve your leadership skills and in knowledge to make the world a better place, to make Cornwall a better place as well. Some key dates for the diary. So we are closing applications on Tuesday, the 22nd of July at midnight. And then we're looking to get responses out to everybody who's applied by Thursday, 31st of July. And then detailed timings, locations, and everything will be provided to successful applicants to support you in the planning of you being on the program. That's the 22nd of July for applications closing. Thank you very much for listening. We've got some time now for questions. So I'm just going to quickly scroll the chat, see if there's any in there. Got a hand up already from Thurston. Thurston, go ahead.
Yeah, sounds great. Quick question because of filling diaries. What's the date of the residential in September? Do you have it yet?
We don't have it yet. It's not going to be in September. I think we're eyeing kind of October time.
Oh, that's sounding better already. Thank you.
But of course, yeah, all the dates, timings and places will be given to successful applicants. Do you have to work in Cornwall as a national charity count? We really are looking for organisations that are doing work in Cornwall for the benefit of Cornwall. So if you kind of work for a national charity that is doing things perhaps outside of Cornwall but live in Cornwall, that wouldn't be eligible. So really are looking for kind of social purpose and impact within Cornwall. Gary.
Hi, Steve. How many places are there on the course? I saw what the deadline is. Are you restricted to a certain number?
We are, yeah. So we have 25 places available on the programme. So the residential is going to involve on the first day a kind of welcome, icebreakers, introduction, kind of getting you warmed up for being at the residential together. You'll then do the Luminous Spark component, and that is kind of half a day, which usually runs from about 1 p.m. to 5 p.m, so kind of 4-hour session. And then on the second day of the residential is kind of TBC at the moment. We're thinking perhaps something around strategic leadership systems thinking. And then we have kind of bit more of a blank slate to really think about what we want to design for the second half of that. Day 2. but got lots of ideas, and of course are open to ideas as well. Application process. It is a written application, so there's some questions on there just to collect your contact details, details about your work, your organization, your position within the organization, and then there's some key questions, written questions around what are kind of skills you want to develop, what is it you're really looking to get out of the program as well. So I just saw your other question. Definitely keen to chat offline. I'll pop my email address in the chat before I pop off. Right, let's just put one in there. Perfect. Yeah. So any questions to our programs? Programs email inbox. How do you apply it? So you can apply it on our website. I'm just going to grab you the link now. And there'll be a lot more details on the website about all the different components that I've mentioned, in case you've missed any when I was rattling through. There's our webpage. Any other questions before we wrap up on where we've just hit 1 p.m? No? Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining and giving us your time this afternoon. Thanks to Paul, thanks to Corin for coming along and sharing your side. Any questions, get in touch with us. All the details are on the website. We really look forward to perhaps seeing you on the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you all for joining.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.